Hello friends and welcome to my channel. Today's card features a number of products that are included in Spellbinders Woodland Tales Collection. The star of the show in my opinion is Finley the Fox. I just love him. There are a number of die cuts to put this fox together. Everything has been cut from either burnt orange, cream, or brown cardstock. Create some depth, I'm adding in some Distress Oxide ink walnut stain using a small blending brush on the die cuts. I'm trying to get the ink applied in the shadow areas, so I am inking as I go. This little die cut is the inside of the fox's ear. Now onto the breast. After I've added in some ink just along the bottom of it, it will sit right inside a scored area on the main body of the fox. This next die cut will add some detail to the throat and muzzle. Again, the outline is scored so it is easy to line it up correctly. Next, the forelegs are adhered to the legs. The forelegs have been cut from brown cardstock. After the die cuts are put in place, I'll give them a couple of minutes to dry before I add some shading. Before adding ink, I first identified where the forelegs were going to be sitting. These are the front legs, and the ink will be added to the inside of the leg. For the back legs, I'll also add ink to the inside of the leg, which will be the opposite to the side that I've added for the front legs. And I'll go ahead and get my back legs lined up. The leg that is sitting in the foreground has score lines on the body to position it. And the other one will tuck in behind the body. Once I've got them in place, I'll go ahead and adhere them. Next, the front leg that is sitting in the foreground will be adhered, overlapping part of that breast die cut. As I put it in place, I make sure that the bottom of it lines up to the bottom of the back leg. This fox is in motion, so the second front leg will be adhered to the back of the body, but it will extend out to the front of the fox. And lastly, I'll add some shading to the underside of the tail and then adhere the tip to it. Initially, I thought this die cut was the underside of the fox's ear, and so I put some walnut stain on it. So I'm just going to lighten it up with some pigment ink before it's adhered. And then I'll add my adhesive to the base of the tail and put the fox on top. Finley the Fox die set also includes a buttercup branch and a cute butterfly. This branch has been cut a couple of times from a light olive cardstock, and I'm adding rustic wilderness down the center stem. The buttercups have been cut from a matte shimmer gold cardstock. And after I've added my adhesive to the main die cut, then I can use my jewel picker to pick up the little flowers and pop them in place. The woodland scene that I'm creating is also going to use another product that is included in this collection, and it is gorgeous woodland fern. To create contrast with the buttercups, the ferns were cut from a dark olive cardstock. And again, I'll be using rustic wilderness to add some depth. The ink is being applied to the underside of each of the leaves. The butterfly was cut from cream cardstock. There's 4 die cuts to put together, and I'll be adding some shading again with the rustic wilderness ink. First, the body is adhered to the main die cut, followed by the lower wing with the other wing overlapping it. Now to create the background, the scene is going to be sitting in an oval window. A panel of brown cardstock size 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches was cut with one of the dies from Essential Stylish Ovals. Give this window some dimension. That die was also used to cut black sheet foam. The window is going to sit on a panel of olive green cardstock, which I'm adding just a little bit of dried marigold in the center. Next, I'll add some gold edging to that window panel. I want it to be subtle, so I'm just taking the edge and pouncing it lightly on the Versamark ink pad, and then I'll coat it with gold embossing powder and melt it. Then this panel is going to be adhered to the foam die cut window. There's a little bit of warping from the heat that was applied to it, so once I get it in place, I'm going to set some weight on it and let the adhesive dry for about 10 or 15 minutes. And after it's dry, then I'll use my large shears to trim off any of the excess foam. Using a fan brush, I'm going to add some spatters with sepia watercolor to the background and also the foliage. The foam-backed panel with the oval window is then adhered to the background panel. And again, I'm going to set some weight on it and let it dry completely. The beautiful scripty sentiment, Perfect Day, is from Woodland Tales Sentiments. I've die cut it both from the olive cardstock and black sheet foam. Foam die cut has not been popped out. The actual sentiment will leave an impression. This makes it very easy to add adhesive to the foam die cut sentiment and then align the cardstock one to it. I'm going to give that some drying time, and in the meantime, I'll add my window panel to an A2 size craft card base. The fox, sentiment, and butterfly will sit in the oval window. So I've already figured out where that fox is going to sit in relation to the foliage that will go underneath it. I'll start off by creating a background with my 3 ferns. 2 of them are going to frame either side of the window, and then one will be trimmed down and placed at the base of the fox. Fern die cut has a little bit of flexibility and can be shaped to fit along the edge of the window. The buttercup branches are going to sit right at the base of the card, and I'm going to trim them down a little bit so that they don't cover up the fox. After this last piece of foliage is put in place, then the panel will be flipped over, and using my shears, press the blade right up against the card's edge and trim off any of the overhanging stems. Woodland Tales Collection also comes with some new embellishments, gold satin sequins, and these are absolutely gorgeous. And as you can see, I've added in a good number of them because really I can't resist. That wraps up this sweet card featuring Spellbinders Woodland Tales Collection. Couldn't resist making a second card with Finley the Fox, and you can find the details for this card on my blog at bonniecarolee.com. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I appreciate your visit.